Welcome to part 3 of the WhatGear Honor Magic V5 tips and tricks guides. If you watched the other two already, well, you are fast becoming an Honor Magic OS wizard.
I'm a what?
A wizard.
And if you haven't already watched those other two, well, I kind of wanted you to have seen those by now.
And I've on a toilet made out of solid gold, but it's just not in the cards now, is it?
But don't worry, I will link them at the end. They'll also be pinned in the description and the top comment, so you can watch those later. So in this one, part 3, I'm going to show you 15 day one settings and hidden features that will make using the Honor Magic V5 even easier and more fun. And I'll also share with you some camera tricks that I think you'll probably want to use. All right, let's go. Number 1. Okay, here's a really nice feature that's switched off by default, and it will help when you're charging your phone overnight. So if you go to your settings, go to home screen and style, and right here, go to standby and switch this on. What this is essentially is a standby clock. So when you're charging overnight, whether you have your phone this way or in the tent mode, or even propped up on a little stand, or even this way, it will show this standby clock. And you can actually customize this a bit more. So on this page, if you go to clocks, you'll see the ones that are available. Those are standard issue. If you go back and go to albums, you can actually show content from your photo gallery on the standby clock if you want to, and you could change the intervals, and you can even choose which libraries from your photo gallery are used. So you might want to set that up. And just to show you how this will look, I'm going to plug this in. So I've got this in the tent mode right now, and you can actually swipe up and down to scroll through the different clocks. You get your battery percentage in the top corner, and you can even set this up to show the weather. All right, now let me show you a little camera trick. So we're going to open the camera app here. This is a folding phone. It's got a display on the outside and the inside. And one of the big advantages of this is the ability to use your main camera to take selfies. But also there's some cool features here that can help you capture better moments. For example, let's say you're taking a picture of a baby or something like that, and you want them to smile for the camera. See this little icon over here? It's very faint because of the background. That little icon right here, if you tap that, you can actually add these images to the cover display. So whilst you're taking pictures of your kid or whoever, this actually might make them smile for the photo. There are other downloadable images and things that you can get here if you want to. But what's going to be even more useful for you if you do decide to get this is this one right here. This is the cover screen preview. So now you can actually see yourself on the main camera, and you can use the volume rocker to snap a photo. Another camera tip for you guys, if you go into the camera app, just like before, there's the icon over here, which is the cover screen preview. If we turn that off for now, there's another icon in the top right corner that looks remarkably similar to the cover screen preview, but this is actually different. This is a preview of the photos you've taken. So this is fantastic. If you're taking lots of photos and you want to see if the photo you took is any good, you can tap on that, see it full screen. And when you go back, you're still in the camera app. So you can take a bunch of photos of something and see them all in real time, and then look at each one and figure out if you have captured the moment that you were trying to capture. Okay, so I've got a couple more camera tips for you guys, and this particular one's going to help you capture those fleeting moments. Even when you think you've not pushed the shutter at the right time, this is designed to help you with that. So if you go into your settings right here and go to Smart Capture, here you will see the option to capture smiles. So if you're waiting for somebody to smile and when they smile you didn't hit the shutter in time, this will do it automatically for you. And also just beneath it you'll see auto capture. This is important for one of the later tips that I'm going to show you. All right, here is another camera tip. This one is really useful when it comes to taking portrait photos. So if you scroll to the portrait mode, on this left side you'll see this little icon that looks like a little roll of film. If you tap that, the phone will now give you access to the hardcore photography modes. Hardcore are a professional photography studio out of France, I think Paris. And you can use these color profiles to snap some really, really nice photos. But there are some brand new artistic film simulation styles here for different types of photography. And some of these are really, really nice. These aren't the best photos I've ever taken, but you get the idea. Okay, here's one last camera setting that you should be aware of when you're snapping photos, particularly when it comes to fast moving objects or people. This little icon down here is the smart sensing option. So this will detect if there is someone moving in the frame. For example, if someone jumps and does a sort of jumping jack or something, it will catch them mid-air. And then just below it, if you go to this little setting here, this is HD Super Burst. So when you snap a photo, and if you use the volume rocker for this, you can hold it down and it snaps several images really quickly. And when you do use the HD burst, when you go to your camera gallery, you'll see the photos just as one, but there'll be a little icon next to them indicating that there is multiple photos, and you'll be able to scroll through those and pick the best ones. Okay, so if you've got this phone and you've been using it for a while, you might not realize that this phone can actually perform a little better than it does straight out of the box. And to activate this mode, you need to do this. Go into your settings, scroll down to battery, and right at the top here, you will see the performance mode. Right now the phone is in balanced mode, but if you activate this, it will reduce the battery life by about an hour, but it will also increase the CPU and the GPU performance of the device. So if you are going to be using your phone for gaming or video editing or anything that's quite demanding, you might want to switch on performance mode. Okay, so there's a really cool hardware feature on this phone that doesn't exist on a lot of the popular phones right now, and that is an IR blaster. And we've all been there at some point. We've lost the remote for something and we want to turn it on or turn it off, and then we end up wasting time looking for the goddamn remote. Well, with this phone, there is a solution that could save you all of that time. And to set this up, if you swipe up from the bottom, there is an app here called Honor AI Space. It looks like this. And right here, you can actually set up all of your smart home devices, but also your infrared devices. So I've got a couple of fans in the house, and quite often I lose the remote to these fans. So to set one of these up is super easy. You just hit the plus here, you choose what the remote is for. In my case, it was for a fan, so I just tap that, and then a list of all the brands show up. You can search here, and then it's a process of trial and error to get the right remote dialed in for that particular device. And as you can see, this can apply to lights, TVs, set-top boxes, air conditioning, and even cameras. And you could even set it up to play pranks on people if you really wanted to. So one of the cool things about the Honor Magic V5 is the display on the inside is almost a perfect square, but actually if you hold it this way, you'll get a slightly bigger display if you're watching movie content. And let's say you're using your phone whilst lying in bed, there is a cool feature that can orientate the phone based off of how your eyes are aligned with the display. To access this feature, jump into your settings on the left side. If you go to Honor AI, and on this right side here, you will see right at the bottom, Smart Sensing. These are all switched off by default, and I do recommend you take a look at these. For example, keep screen on while looking. It will use the camera on the phone to detect if you are looking at the screen. You can also use a glance to reduce the ringer. So if the phone is ringing and you kind of give it a bit of a stare, it will actually reduce the volume because it knows you're looking at the phone and you've acknowledged the call. You've also got this option here to show the always on display when you look at the phone, which is kind of nice. And this last one at the bottom was the one that I was speaking about, Smart Rotate. So if you are lying on your side and you're looking at the phone, the screen will rotate based off of how your eyes are orientated. All right, here is a feature that could be useful for when your hands are occupied. So if you go into your settings, go back to the Honor AI page. On this right hand side, this time we're going to go to the last thing on the list, the air gestures. This will use the selfie camera on the phone, whether it's this one or the one on the exterior display, to detect whether you're doing these gestures. So the air scroll, you just move your hand up and down to scroll through the page. The grab shot, you simply make a fist from a distance and it will take a screenshot. And then you've got air back. So if you are scrolling through things, you can turn your hand like this to make the phone go back to the previous page. And there is a little setting here that will switch these features off if you don't use them for 7 days. And for each one of these, if you tap on them, there are tutorials so you can get the hang of how these gestures work. So definitely give them a go. If you're cooking or something like that and you've got a recipe on screen, this could be great. So this next Honor Magic feature is very specific to the folding phones. To access it and make full use of it, do this. Go to your settings. On the left side, we're going to go to the foldable phone section. On the right side, we're going to go to hover mode. Now, hover mode on this phone is an interesting one. Essentially, when you fold the phone halfway, this is called hover mode. And if you enable this tool on these apps, what happens is you can use the bottom half of the display as a mouse to navigate whatever it is you're working on the top half of the display. For example, if I go to Google Docs and switch this on, I'll open the document for this video. I'm going to put it into hover mode right here, And then in the bottom left corner, you will see the hover mode icon. You can then open that, and then you get the hover mode controls on the lower half of the display. This kind of works like a trackpad on a laptop. And you'll notice when you activate hover mode, you do get a bunch of controls down this side as well. It is an interesting feature, but really it's only useful for apps where you might need a mouse. With certain other apps like these ones up here, you might see different options. These are actually recommended apps for the hover mode. So test out hover mode on different apps and see what kind of controls you get. Most of the time, it will just be the mouse with the shortcuts down the side. Okay, so if you watched the previous 2 videos in this 3-part series, you would have learned how to create this vertical Gemini widget. Now, one of the tools on this widget, which is really, really useful, is this one right here, the camera one. This isn't specific to Honor devices. This will work on any Android device, but it is a feature that's very, very useful. So if you open up the camera right here, essentially what we're doing is giving Gemini access to what our camera sees, and we can ask it questions about what it's looking at. So what do you think of this speaker? What speaker is this even?
That's a JBL Flip 6 speaker.
It's actually the Flip 7, but yeah, it does look like the Flip 6.
You're right, that's the Flip 7. What a cool purple color. Did you have any questions about it?
What camera lens is this?
That's a Sony FE 50mm f/1.8 lens. It's a great lens for portraits and everyday shooting. What did you want to know about it?
So the other cool thing you can do with this is flip the camera this way and then prop the phone up on the desk and get it to look at your outfit and tell you how you could improve what you're wearing, for example, or maybe even improve your makeup or something to better complement what it is you're wearing. So it's a very powerful tool. And if you didn't watch part 1 or 2, whichever one it was in, where I set this up, definitely go back and have a look at that. Okay, so there are some features that I really hope Honor adds to this phone in the future. And there will be a new update with the new Android pretty soon. And one of the ways you can be one of the first people to test that out is this. So let's go into the settings again. Here we're going to go to system and update, and then we're going to go to software update. Here we should see the current version, which is Magic OS 9. You could check if there are any newer versions just to make sure it's up to date. But if you hit the 3 dots in the top right corner here, you can actually go to try out version. If there is a beta version of the next software available, this is where you will find it, and you can be one of the first people to test it out. And I do have a bit of a wish list for what I hope Honor will add to the next update. Stick around and I'll go through those if you're interested. So in the previous videos, I did speak about customizing the wallpaper, the AOD and all that kind of stuff. Here's another AOD trick that you might want to use. So if you go into your photo gallery, choose a photo that you like. For example, I'm going to go with this one, the devil dog. What you can do here is hit the 3 dots in the bottom right corner and go to set as, and then you will see the option here, partial AOD. So what this does is it allows you to create this image in a little circle on your always on display, and you have the option to show the time and date and also notifications if you want. And yeah, you can move it around so that it's lined up perfectly. And there we go, we've got a custom picture for the always on display. So if you pinch the home screen and go to wallpaper and style, if you swipe across, this is your system display, the quick settings display, and also changing this will affect your entire system menu. What you can do here is round the corners of these little icons. If you want them to be fully round, you can do that. Or if you want them to follow the shape of your home screen icons, you can do that. I'm going to keep these round because I think that looks pretty cool. Okay, this is a kind of security tip that will help you if you do lose your phone one day. Trust me, you'll wish that you did this if that ever happens. Go to your settings, go to home screen and style, scroll all the way down and you will see lock screen signature. And here you can type in a backup phone number or email address should you lose your phone. That way, if someone finds it, they'll be able to read this on the display without unlocking the device and contact you. So make sure you add that important information right here. Okay, so you made it to the end of part 3. If you haven't watched part 1 and 2, they will be on screen shortly and pinned below and in the description. And if you're interested to know how this phone could be better with a future update, here's some of the things that I wish this phone had. So on some other phones, you can have stackable widgets, including the iPhone. So for example, this one, it'd be nice if we could stack more widgets on top. That would be cool. For example, on another phone that I use, I have this view of the calendar and I also have the monthly view, and I can switch between them just by swiping back and forth. Widget stacks, in my opinion, are much needed. Let me know if you agree with that. Something else that's missing on this phone is modes and routines. I really like being able to put my phone into filming mode. So that switches on do not disturb. It changes the brightness of the display, changes the background or the wallpaper and various other settings so that whilst I'm filming, I don't get interrupted. And I've also got a mode for when I'm walking and various things like that. And something else that I wanted to add right here in this little gap specifically was a do not disturb button. Right now it exists here. So in order for me to get to it, I have to swipe down and then tap the button. I, on one of my other devices, have a dedicated do not disturb button right in the middle of the display. So when I am working and I don't want any interruptions, I can literally just hit the button in the middle of the screen and that stops anyone getting through except for my favorite contacts. Another upgrade that I'd love to see on this phone is transparent widgets. For example, this Gemini one here or this one right here. If we can make those colors in the background disappear, that way it just kind of fades into the wallpaper. That would be really nice. And the last one that's really important to me, and it's quite frustrating that this phone doesn't have it, is I want to be able to map that double push of the power key to open the Google Wallet. Anyone that might come over from an iPhone will definitely be missing that feature because that's how you do it on an iPhone. Double push opens up the Apple Wallet. I have double push to open up Google Wallet on my other Androids, and that's how I use it all the time. On this one, I can't do that. So that is frustrating. I have to swipe down, find the wallet here, or navigate to a page where the wallet's on. It just takes a lot more effort. And really, when it comes to tech, you want things to be as effortless as possible. And guys, this is your perfect opportunity to chime in the comments with the features that you wish Honor Magic OS has, because there is a chance that Honor might see this video and add them to their devices. So make sure you let me know in the comments below what improvements you'd like to see. If you missed part 1 and 2, those videos on screen right now. If you just subscribed, you're now one of the finest subscribers known to man, and I will see you in the next one. Don't be late.